Most people who try to grow their own food never actually grow enough food that really matters. Here at Possum Ridge Farms, we grow about 80% of our own food every year. And look, it's not because gardeners fail, and it's not because they lack effort. It's because they were taught to think like gardeners and not farmers. Look, they grow a few tomatoes, maybe some peppers, a few cucumbers, and it feels productive. You walk outside and pick something out of your garden, bring it into the kitchen, and it feels like success. And in a way it is. But if you added up everything most home gardeners grow in an entire year, it wouldn't feed one person for even a month. Not because home gardening doesn't work, but because gardening is not designed for production. Farmers understand this. They don't grow food as a hobby. They grow food as a system. Every crop has a purpose. Every square foot has a job. And every decision is made with production in mind. And once you begin to think this way, everything changes. Not because you need more land, and it's not that you need all this expensive equipment, and it's not even that you need more time. What you need is a different mindset. Think like a farmer or a market gardener, not a hobbyist. The first mistake people make, believe it or not, is deciding what to grow. They base what they grow on preference instead of production. They grow what they like to eat, right? Tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers, maybe some squash. And there's nothing wrong with growing those things. But market gardeners, i.e. farmers, ask different questions. They ask, how much food will this crop actually produce? How much space will it require? How reliable is it? How long will it continue to produce? Because not all crops are created equal. Some crops produce a tremendous amount of food in a very, very small space. Others, very little, no matter how well you grow them. And this is where most home gardeners fall short. It's not because of poor soil. It's not because of pests. It's not because of lack of effort. It's because of crop selection. Every square foot must justify itself. And once you begin to see your garden in this way, your priorities change. You stop growing what is interesting, and you start growing what actually feeds your family. We learned this crop selection lesson firsthand. When we first started growing here in Tennessee, we do what most people would do. We grew what we knew. We grew the crops that we were familiar with growing up in Ohio. Some of it worked really good, but some of it crashed and burned. Tennessee is not Ohio. The heat is different. The growing season is different. The stress on the plants is way different. And some of the crops we expected to produce well didn't do well. Others produced far less than we expected. And that forced us to rethink everything. What handles the heat? What handles the humidity? What grows reliably? And what produces consistently? Because production is not about tradition, it's about results. The next difference is not just what market gardeners grow, it's how they grow it. Most home gardens are designed around convenience. A few raised beds, a few containers, plants spaced comfortably apart. But convenience does not maximize production. Systems do. Market gardeners think in rows, not individual plants. Rows allow you to plant more efficiently. They allow you to manage more efficiently. And more importantly, they allow you to harvest more efficiently. There's very little wasted space. Spacing is intentional, not for appearance, not for comfort, but for production. You stop seeing your garden as a collection of plants and start seeing it as a food production system. There's nothing wrong with hobby gardening, but hobby gardening and food production are not the same thing. Hobby gardening prioritizes enjoyment, and food production prioritizes output. A hobby gardener might plant 1, 2, maybe 10 tomato plants. A producer, 50 to 100. A hobby gardener might grow a little bit of everything, and a producer grows more of what works. Because if your goal is truly to feed yourself, consistency matters more than variety, and reliability means more than novelty. Production certainly means more than appearance. And once you adopt that mindset, your results will begin to change. If you look at the growing areas here at Possum Ridge Farms, you'll notice something immediately. Everything is planted in rows, not because it looks better, but because it produces better. Rows allow us to plant more in the same space. They allow us to manage it efficiently, and they allow us to harvest it efficiently. Production comes from systems, not land, not equipment, systems. There's another reason why this farmer/market gardener mindset matters. Believe it or not, life is not always predictable. Prices change, availability changes. When your growing system is designed for production, you have options. You can produce more when you need to. You can expand without starting over. And that capability creates something most people will never experience: margin. Not excess, but margin. This is not about fear, it's about stability and, of course, confidence. The most important thing to understand is this: you do not need more land to grow more food. You need better systems. Production is limited by design, not space, not luck, design. Your real goal is not to become a market gardener. Your goal is just to think like one. You might think about it. From all of us here at Possum Ridge Farms, until next time, I'll see you down at the barn.